Hello and welcome to Keeping Busy, the show where Zach can't do anything right, and we were originally going to do something else, so then that game crashed and ruined everything, so now we're doing Rogue Legacy, a game that won't crash. I'm going to choose my heir. Have you seen much of Rogue Legacy before, Brandon?
I have no idea what this game is. I know that it's super popular and probably one of the most popular rogue-like games, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, this is a Metroidvania. Well, I don't know if Metroidvania is the right word, but the level design kind of makes me think about that. It's like a action platformer where the main gimmick is that every time you die, instead of respawning, you play as a descendant of the previous person. And here I am choosing my heir, and each of them have their own traits, and they also each have their own spells. So here we have Sir Useless the Third. His class is a minor, he's colorblind, he has dwarfism, and his spell is the Conflux. And then here we have Sir John, also a minor. I don't know what the one trait does, and then he just has a dagger. And then Lady Charlotte II is an assassin with endomorph, so she won't get knocked back, and then she has a teleportation spell. I'm probably just going to go Sir John here.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're a fan of Disney's Robin Hood.
I am, actually. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, to be honest. And then this game does have, I think it's called meta progression, where I can permanently gain new things. Like I can permanently raise my attack or my health. And the way you would get this is by collecting gold in your run, and then you would spend it here, and then you would lose the majority of your gold to death.
Okay.
Alright, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to end up losing a lot of this gold to Charon when I go back into the dungeon.
So there's not much of a story setup besides go to dungeon, fight monster.
I think there is a little bit more story in that, but it's been a very long time. I've been playing this game pretty much on and off for years. This is like this is my just emergency game, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay.
Well, this was my emergency game before fighting games took over.
Okay, I know friends that have emergency games. I know friends that have depression games. It all depends. It's like the game that they turn to. They're just like, okay, in this mood, gotta do this now. And with the depression games, it's usually a case where they're like, is this game any good? Well, no, but it distracts me.
Yeah, sometimes that's all a game needs to do, just help you deal with existence. Even if it's not the best thing. I don't even remember what... Oh, right, this gives me abilities. That's more gold. Alright, so double jump. More jumping. Oh.
Even more jump.
Move faster. Nah, let's fly. Let's triple jump and then also fly.
Yeah, that seems good. That's basically what you can do in Alice Madness Returns.
Oh yeah, you're right. Alright, then this is Charon. He's not going to let us in until we give him a part of our gold.
Oh, jerk. So wait, how do you get in the first time?
I think, well, the first time we haven't died yet. The only reason Charon is making us pay is because we keep dying. But I think the first time you don't have to pay since we haven't died yet.
What a jerk. What is Death spending the money on anyway?
Yeah, there's so many myths about having to pay the ferrymen. And you're right. What are they spending that money on?
I don't know. But unless they take excursions out to the living world to just, you know...
Well, how else is Karen gonna afford the Switch 2?
I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, that's what people said on the internet when people couldn't afford the Switch 2. They said, oh, just get a job. It's like, I already have a job. I can't afford to eat.
Oh, nice. I made it. Ow. Yeah, Rogue Legacy itself is a very self-explanatory. You could probably guess by just looking at the gameplay here what it's like. Go around, kill things, collect gold, kill all the bosses to get to the big boy at the end, kill big boy, win game.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, the graphics are pretty simple. Like, you're not going to ever confuse this as not being, you know, an independently made game. But when you look at, like, its Wikipedia or any sort of page about the game, you see that it was released on basically everything and became super popular. So, there is a 2. Have you played the second one at all?
I do not own the second one. I wanted to beat the first one, but I haven't put as much time into the first one.
Zach over here saying, oh, I'm gonna beat a roguelike. I need to beat the first roguelike first.
I mean, I originally wasn't going to play Persona 5 until I at least played 3 and 4, until a friend of mine was like, just play 5, they're not connected. And I'm like, I know they're not connected, but I want to beat 3 and 4. He goes, just play 5, and I was like, fine. And then I started playing 5, and I'm like, damn, 5 is really good.
Yep.
Sometimes that's just how I got to be convinced to play games as much as I hate it. I just need someone to be like, hey, this game's good, you should play. And I'll be like, I don't know. It's a video game. Do I want to play video games?
And many times I'll recommend a game to Zach, and you know, it'll seem like, oh, it's because I'm gonna play it too, and then Zach gets the game, and then he plays it way more than me, and then I never get around to it. Or sometimes it's the opposite.
I can only think about that with Deltarune. Has that happened with anything else? Oh, Hades. That happened with Hades, because you didn't play Hades for a long time. Because I was originally like, oh, I have no interest in Hades. And then it was on Game Pass, so I was like, I'll play it, and then I got super addicted.
I know, it's the same way with Hi-Fi Rush. I played the demo, and I beat it, and I was like, this game's awesome! And then I was like, oh man, Zach and Alec, they need to play this. This is literally the type of game they've been wanting. And so I got you guys to play it, and then I got it on PS5, and then I just never started it.
Oh, fuck. I forgot how little defense I had. Oh, well.
Wait.
There's a lot of wacky traits you could get.
Sure. So wait, when you die, it just boots you back to the title screen? It doesn't just, like, put you in with your next heir?
No, I am choosing my next heir right now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it boots you to the title screen, but you could just immediately, like, go back to the game.
Okay.
Ooh. This guy... I don't know, this guy is Alzheimer's. Oh, he has time stop, though. That's pretty cool. Ooh. Oh, this character's gay. You know what? I know it's no longer Pride Month, but we're picking the gay one. We're picking the gay dwarf.
Sure. Why not? Doesn't matter if it's not Pride Month. Pride is all year, Zach.
Oh, that's true. Pride is all the time.
As much as the world would prefer you not to do that anymore. Stop doing that. Stop being happy that you're alive.
Look, can you really be proud unless you're serving the corporate machine?
Yes. I just need to go onto my YouTube stream and tell people how they need to be serving the corporations more and fall in line with what they want and let them kill all the video games.
Man, I'm so upset that Pirate Software just turned out to be a huge dickhead after all, because that guy, I thought, gave a lot of good game development advice and was very good at motivating me, and now he's just like, actually, killing games is poggers, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Because he has like a massive audience, and I'll be honest, Zach, I never heard of this guy before. So when all this drama started circulating, I only really got caught up in watching some of his clips and all that, and getting caught up with everybody was saying. But there had to be a reason why such a massive audience swarmed to him, I thought. Not that really means much of anything when you consider who some of the top people on YouTube are. It's mainly, Mr. Beast and Jake Paul trying to sell people their candy bars. Well, okay, not people, children.
YouTube keeps recommending them, and I have to keep telling YouTube, no, I do not want to watch Mr. Beast.
No. But Zach, he apologized for the boo-boo of trying to sell a device that would allow you to steal other people's thumbnails and put your face on them. He said, but now we're going to do it with actual artists this time, and it's going to be great. And just like, yeah, okay. I really trust this man with the dead look in his eyes. Yeah, I'm sure the smaller stature here would also make it a lot easier to not get hit.
It does. Oh shit, yeah, that's right. I took off all my double jumps. I don't know why I did that. I wanted to be different, damn it. Oh god, the fire barrier really takes that much mana?
Yep.
Oh, thankfully I have some runes equipped that give me mana on kill. Not a lot, though, apparently.
What's the jukebox do?
Oh, I think it lets you listen to the game's soundtrack.
Oh, okay, sure. That is a very banned type of song title.
Pistol Shrimp does sound like an indie band from the time period. Oh, I forgot about the downward stab.
Oh, right, because this is a 2013 game. This was like right on the cusp of the PS4 coming out.
I should not have taken off double jump. What the hell was I thinking? Anyway, so Brandon, you and I have been doing Keeping Busy for a while.
That's true. We've been doing this since, I mean, we used to do it very, very sporadically over, like, we do one every, like, number of months, and, like, starting during the pandemic. But, yes, now we've managed to nearly get up to, like, past 70 episodes of this stuff.
And I figured about 70 episodes in, I think, there is one thing we can talk about. And that is, what is the appeal of the gameplay video? Wait, well, or at least for you, what would you say you find appealing about either making gameplay content or watching it, whichever you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, what inspired me in the first place was obviously watching a lot of it in like the early mid-2000s era of YouTube. I mean, it wasn't just like, and I'm not necessarily specifically talking about like, you know, angry video game nerd stuff or anything like that, or like reviews. I'm talking more about like, yeah, just like Let's Plays, like full videos of people playing stuff. And the appeal of that was, I mean, usually these people were quite knowledgeable about the game, and they would tell you a lot of fun facts about it, or they were funny. Or they would have really cool gameplay. They would do things that I didn't even think I could do in a game. And so over time, I would like, oh yeah, I want to do something like this too. I want to, you know, show off a game I really love. And that's like kind of the thing, right? Is that sometimes they just exist to exist, but like because of followers or whatever. But many times the ones I enjoy the most are made out of a sense of passion for a specific game or franchise. Like, you know, Zach and I mainly started out with, I mean, I don't know who you specifically was like your first, Zach, but yeah, I mean, I started out with like Hellfire commentaries, Find the Computer Room. I would watch like a little bit of Brain Scratch comps, but I never really just jived with the energy of those guys. Unless, you know, they crossed over with other people from those other channels I mentioned that I like. And with those, I mean, a lot of it was comedy. But sometimes, yes, I would learn things about the game that I wouldn't know otherwise. Or if it's in the case of, like, Sonic 06, I didn't have access to a 360 or a PS3 at the time, so I didn't really have any way to play this game. So I was kind of, you know, viewing it through the experience of someone else playing it. And that's kind of the double-edged sword with this stuff. Because on one hand, if you haven't played the game, you're getting the experience of you're being able to really experience the game and its story through the guise of someone else's play. But the other side of the knife is that, yeah, that's what you're doing. You're getting someone's very specific experience with a game, which, especially if it's a game with multiple outcomes or choices, or it requires a lot of skill, that can be a problem if you're watching somebody that's actually terrible at the game or is, you know, misunderstanding it and kind of just makes it, gives you a false impression of the game. Based on their own, like, nitpicks or whatever, which always is a sticking point with me with a lot of gameplay videos, and a large reason why I kind of stopped viewing a lot of them. But then, if it's a case where I've already played the game, I sometimes will look up gameplay videos of people playing it, especially if it's a heavily story-based game or it's kind of short, and it's like something that you would get interesting reactions out of people with. That's why something like Undertale became obscenely popular in the gameplay, you know, Let's Play sphere, because everybody was going to have like a different reaction to all the little, you know, the choices you can make, the characters you come across, all the little events that happen. Like Telltale. Telltale, you know, lost a whole bunch of money because everybody was just streaming their games, and people were watching the streams instead of playing them, because they are just like TV shows where you're just watching somebody make the choices. Yeah, I mean, it's a confusing thing, but I think that I enjoy the appeal of just... I mean, to me, keeping BZ is not just like, oh yeah, I'm doing this for the audience, because, I mean, you know, like, half the time we're not getting any comments or any feedback. We're just sending these videos out into a void. So a lot of times I'm just doing this because it's a nice way to relax. It's a nice way to, like, you know, really get passionate about something I like, or just, like, you know, vent about things currently going on, or, you know, discuss things that I've been really thinking about. It's a lot of things. I think it's a medium that's never really going to go away, because there will always be an appeal for, you know, people that want to experience something but either don't want to play it or, you know, are incapable of playing it and want to experience it through somebody else. That's always going to age well.
Yeah, I think you hit on the head pretty much what I use Let's Plays for. Lately, my favorite gameplay videos are usually just games I can't be bothered to play. Those are usually my favorite ones to watch, where someone's playing a really terrible game that I just wouldn't have the patience for. Oh, shit. Or I'm not really a big streaming guy, but I'll watch like a lot of stream videos of people playing card games because I like seeing people build decks or talking about what decks are popular and how to beat them and so on. I also just like watching them from wanting to be a game designer perspective, just trying to think of what a game is doing right or wrong from like just watching someone else's reactions.
I mean, what you touched on there at the beginning, Zach, I mean, that's a large reason why Zach and I really enjoy watching the Let's Plays of Super Great Friend, because he will play, like, beyond terrible games, like some of the worst possible things I have ever seen in my entire life, and he will just put himself through them in their entirety. Whether it's The Ring for the Sega Dreamcast or fucking, like, half-finished PC, like, small-budget games like Crying Is Not Enough, which is barely a functional thing.
I don't know how he does it.
Well, he has a decent following, but I don't know. There's just something driving that man that I could never possibly understand.
I recently watched him do one where he is playing an FMV game where Rob Schneider does voiceover, and that's about as fun as it sounds.
I mean, that's part of the enjoyment of videos like that, is that you're seeing somebody degrade over the course of the video, and especially with Super Great Friend, who kind of maintains a very specific kind of, I wouldn't say like fake personality, but he very much has a certain kind of aloof or sarcastic vibe to him, where he always portrays something, you know, you can tell that he sees it for what it is, but he speaks of it as if it's something, you know, really cool or good. Which adds its own area of fun to it. But some of the best videos of him are when he truly has to go mask off, and it's just like, I know this is truly wretched, and I don't know why I did this to myself or spent all this time on this. Like, we're talking about a guy that for one of his like channel anniversaries, he really did just do a stream where he beat all of Superman 64 in one video.
That man truly plays the game, so we don't have to. But yeah, that was something I wanted to try being as I grew up watching Let's Plays. One of these days, I kind of want to show off Tulip, but I'm just like, man, that's going to require patience, and I'm very impatient when it comes to things I don't like. Heck, sometimes I'm impatient when it comes to things I do like. Like, Brandon talked about earlier about getting me to play games, and then he doesn't play them until later. It took me a very, very long time to finally play Deltarune Chapters 1 and 2, just because, I don't know, like, I knew I would like the games, but I was just sort of like, well, this isn't what I'm in the mood for right now. So I was just like, oh, I'll play it another time. And then I just kept putting it off, and putting it off, and putting it off. And then Chapter 2 came out. And then I kept putting it off, and putting it off. And then Chapter 3 and 4 were announced. And then pretty much the week before they were released, I was like, you know, I should finally play Deltarune Chapter 1 and 2. And yeah, I do really like the games. Mostly more so from a story perspective.
Sure.
Like, I think Deltarune and Undertale both do a great job of story and gameplay integration, which is what I think makes those games so fantastic and lovable, at least for me. But I also can't help but feel like it sometimes comes at the cost of the gameplay not being as great. Like, the gameplay's not awful.
It is definitely simplistic, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of does feel repetitive, especially after a while. Especially in Deltarune Chapter 1, where it's at its simplest. Like, it's not bad, but it evolves and becomes so much better later on.
I had a fine time with Deltarune Chapter 1 when it came out, but it was a case where I finished it, and I was like, You know, I enjoyed that, but I felt like I didn't get anything that really like made me feel like this was a worthwhile thing to invest my time in, that had something that was uniquely different from Undertale. Like, I finished Deltarune Chapter 1 and I was just like, it was fun, but like I remember saying to Zach and Alec at the time, like, yeah, but I think I've seen all I need to see of like Toby Fox's work. Like, Undertale was such a perfect package, perfectly paced, ended exactly when it caps everything off. Like, there wasn't really much else that I really wanted out of it. And Deltarune was fun. Chapter 1 was fun, but I was just kind of like, yeah, but that's fine. I don't really necessarily need more of this. And then I played Chapter 2, and Chapter 2 is a noticeable improvement over Chapter 1. In terms of even just like graphical quality, and as well as just the writing, the characters, the gameplays, the secret pathways and the choices you can make. I just overall thought it was just a much better package, which makes me excited to get to chapters 3 and 4 in about 10 years or so. But that's the issue with episodic gaming, is that I'm just like, do I need to like go back and replay those again? I don't want to fight those secret bosses again. I guess I need to like watch somebody else play it. But a lot of the streamers I like may take too damn long getting through the game. So is there summary videos on YouTube? But if I look up a summary video, I'll probably end up getting spoilers in my recommends. So like, what the fuck do I even do anymore with this shit? Like, then I just like don't engage with it, because I'm just like, I don't want to replay all of this again, I guess. And I don't just want to jump into 3, because I'll probably forget stuff that happened at the end of Chapter 2. So, you know. I mean, that was the advantage when Telltale was the thing, because their episode releases were like pretty much monthly. So I would just wait for the next episode, play it, then wait for the next one. And it was always still very much in my mind, as well as them giving little last time on features in their episodes, so I could always, catch myself up.
Yeah, I have the benefit. That is the one benefit of waiting so long. I played Chapter 1 and 2, and then about a week or a week and a half later, I just played 3 and 4 with everything so fresh in my mind.
And you're right, Zach. The gameplay integration with story is still, like that. Undertale, people talk about whether that game is overrated or not, in terms of just what the internet did to it, and how it became this just like deeply and sometimes unsettling obsession online, with all the people making AUs and all the fan animations, and just how obsessive it became. But at the same exact time, I think a lot of that is also a testament to, strengthening the argument of how good and important Undertale is as a project, the influence it had on games as a whole, not just in terms of indie projects, but just in terms of video games. It is a very important game. And it also has a soundtrack that I still listen to this day. Like, it's like the soundtrack of Undertale has become synonymous with some of the other RPG classics that I revisit the soundtracks of. Like, it was just just a surprising project. Another kind of situation like Cave Story, where it kind of just suddenly happened and took the internet by storm. Which is why I kind of was worried that Deltarune was not going to be, it was just going to be, more of this. It's like, well, I'm sure it's going to be good, but that's not really something that I feel like you can just do again. But yeah, he's doing something different with it, and it's very well done. Once I get to chapters 3 and 4, I'll be excited to see how he expands on it.
I'm going to give my quick ratings without spoiling anything. Fourth one, I feel like the first episode is... I don't like calling it the worst, but it technically is, but it's simple, but it's the first one. I think it does a good job of setting things up, but it's definitely the weakest. But to be fair, if your first episode is not the weakest, I feel like you did something wrong. I would say third is Chapter 3. Which I don't know how... I don't know how much of a hot take that is. I don't think I can actually do that one without dying. Chapter 3 is third for me. I really do like the focused on character in that. I think he's a lot of fun. I just think Chapter 4 and especially Chapter 2 are better. And that probably spoiled how I feel. Chapter 4 I think is second best. That one adds... That one's really, really good. And then Chapter 2 is just my favorite. Queen's the best. Queen is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that I've already played the best chapter and I don't really need to play any more of it.
No. I still need you to play more.
Fine. I should. I definitely should. I mean, you were talking about story and, like, gameplay integration and how ultimately, you know, the gameplay is lacking, but it doesn't really matter when the story is that engaging and the way they kind of, you know, put it together with the interactivity. And it's like, yeah, like, when I think about some of my favorite games of all time, like, it's because the gameplay is just as important in many ways as the story, and so the way those two fit together, the game is fun to play, but I'm also super engaged in what is going on. So it is an important thing. Like, that's why I love Deus Ex so much, because Deus Ex it's a game that's both very story heavy, but it also allows you to take very different pathways in both the story and the gameplay through just entirely different ways of just getting through environments. Deus Ex has had many sequels, and, you know, many modern era, like, sequels like Mankind Divided that are, you know, beautiful with their graphics and all that, and, you know, in some ways have, you know, some more ambition, but the original Deus Ex from 2000 is ridiculous. Like, it is a game that is too big for its era. Like, it is just, like, insane how many different pathways are in those levels, where constantly, as I'm trying to explore the environments in Deus Ex, I end up constantly stumbling into a different pathway that was for if I took a different route, because I keep backtracking my way through, like, 6 different ways that I could have gone through this level instead of just taking one and moving on. But also, yeah, engaged in the story. It's like there's a lot of themes in Deus Ex that still surprisingly aged super well. Like, definitely watch Ross Scott's Game Dungeon episode on the first Deus Ex. He goes into a lot of details on a lot of, like, the political implications in Deus Ex and how a lot of them actually have aged pretty well for what they are, in comparison to the later games, which are a little more simplistic in their kind of, you know, narrative views. But still, a lot of fun. Like, Human Revolution was how I got into the series, and I adored the gameplay in that game, while the ending was pretty superficial. And I heard that they're making a new Perfect Dark, Zach, that's coming out in a couple years, and that they're making it like a totally different game. Like, it's not going to be just like a, you know, espionage FPS like the original N64 game. It is going to be an immersive sim like a Deus Ex. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on that, because it's also doing the Deus Ex thing where it's a semi-futuristic world where you're having different kinds of tech and gadgets and stuff. Like, that's why ultimately, even though I totally understand why so many people are disappointed by Cyberpunk 2077, even in the state it is now after they patched the game up and added new content to it, Deus Ex was, like, exactly what I was looking for in a lot of ways in terms of no, I meant Cyberpunk 2077 is what I'm actually talking about. I think I kept saying Deus Ex too many times. But it's because Cyberpunk is very much like a Deus Ex game. It just happens to be also open world. I kind of prefer some of the more compact and detailed environments of Deus Ex, but Cyberpunk 2077 is still very much a case where you can choose multiple ways for both the story and the gameplay to play out, and it's a fairly epic story. I think a lot of people and, you know, game essayists and journalists have made decent points on how it's not a terribly punk kind of game in terms of its messaging, and it's not really giving you any sort of biting satire besides corpo bad. But it's still a really engaging game on a gameplay front and has a lot of likable characters, no less because of Keanu Reeves having such a large focus in the game. I still need to get back and play the Phantom Liberty DLC, which I've heard is super solid.
Yeah, I also need to get back to Cyberpunk 2077. That is one of the 50 games I think I'm borrowing from you at the moment.
Yep. Hey, you made it through there.
Oh my gosh, this is the boss room. If I defeat this boss, I've defeated all 4 bosses. I cannot imagine being able to kill the boss right now, though. Especially with how much HP I do not have.
Is there currency for the teleporters, or can you use them as much as you want?
I can use them as much as I want.
That's good. Because fast travel is one of those things that's immensely important in games nowadays, but it also kind of just makes me wonder if maybe the solution is just to make the game smaller.
Oh, I did quickly want to add to your one point about how watching a Let's Play could, like, spoil you on the game and potentially, like, just ruin your own possible experience with it. Because I'll be honest, I do often use Let's Plays as kind of a replacement. But I feel like with much... I don't really want to die in the early level room.
Yeah, that would suck.
Chicken. Give me the chicken. I'll be honest, a game with good gameplay, even if I've seen a Let's Play of it, or at the most of it, I'll still be willing to go get it if the gameplay is good. I feel like a more gameplay-driven game is not really as ruined by a Let's Play, but definitely the more story-heavy ones, or especially the old-school adventure games where the puzzles would be super abstract and obscure, and you would wonder how the hell anyone was ever supposed to figure those out. Like something like that is definitely the type of game I would watch rather than play.
I wouldn't recommend fighting these guys, Zach.
Go. You're right. I'm leaving. I do get into a really bad habit of thinking everything needs to die. I just see an enemy and I'm like, oh, but that thing could be dead if I just swung my sword enough times. But, there was a period in time where I was much more, where I was as into, I mean, I still really love video game stories, of course, but nowadays, while I do think a video game story is important, of course, I feel like I'm on the side of the gameplay is more important most of the time. Of course, that does depend on the game a lot of the time. Like, because I've definitely played games I thought were only just, like, mediocre or okay, but I've played through them because of the story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, fuck. But, like, I know someone who's only really experiencing Deltarune through a streamer because they don't really want to play it themselves, and I'm just like, yeah, I get that. But of course, then that comes with the issue of, well, then you gotta wait for the streamer, and then not to mention, the streamer could be, like you brought up, like doing things wrong, or just playing the game really horribly. Although, the person this guy is watching is reliable, and I don't think he's doing that at all. But, you know, that is always the risk you have to take. I used to love looking at so many Let's Plays, but now I just can't do it. So many... Like, I wouldn't say the commentary is awful, but it's just sort of like so okay. Why do I keep picking the gay ones? I swear to God, I'm not doing this on purpose.
Gee, I wonder why, Zach.
It's just the gay ones always have the best spells.
Look, just because Zach's favorite Disney movies, I mean, one of them happens to be Disney's Robin Hood, and one of them may, in fact, on some level be Zootopia, that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
Okay? Don't apply anything from that. Yeah, I don't know, Zach. I've gotten to a point in my life where I find it very difficult to... I understand with you, you do watch a lot of games instead of playing them because ultimately, you know, who has the money for the infinite amount of games that are out there right now, and, you know, just being a way to quickly experience something that you're interested in but not necessarily want to play. But I don't know. For me, I just have such an issue with trying to watch other people play something that it gets difficult for me to really, you know, focus and experience it through them when I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm being misrepresented here on some level. I'm not getting the experience I would have gotten if I would have just played the damn thing myself. So I just wait, and then I get it. Or like, you know, like I like sometimes watching the VODs of the streamer or highlights of the streamer Pat stares at, and his wife, who Paige, who goes by Peach Saliva. Both of them, those two are immensely charming. I really like watching those two, but I don't watch them because I actually like watching them play games or their gameplay. Paige is notoriously terrible at any game that involves any manner of using brain at all. Which is very entertaining. Absolutely. Like, there's definitely a lot of videos with Paige where she is immensely entertaining because of her not being able to solve basic puzzles. And just watching her husband just be in disbelief at just like the new horror that keeps getting unlocked every single time they play something. But it's also a thing where, yeah, but I'm not going to actually watch their takes on something as a serious way of me experiencing a product like this. If I'm going to experience it, I'm going to experience it myself, and then maybe I'll watch Pat play it later. And then I'll watch him, you know, get completely stuck on a section and, you know, act like this was much more difficult than it actually is. And then I become, you know, the fucking YouTube comment backseat gamer, and I just hate that kind of mentality, so I just don't engage with it.
I mean, I would say there is one other reason, and it's probably not going to be a popular reason. Some games are just, you just get, maybe not a one-to-one the same experience by watching it, but if it's a story-driven game, you get enough by just watching the story. You definitely do miss something from the interactive element, but some games are so linear that, like, it just kind of doesn't matter. Like, I experienced Danganronpa 1 and 2 through a Let's Play, and then I actually did play V3 myself, which admittedly I am glad I did. But do I feel like I missed anything from just watching someone else playing Danganronpa 1 and 2? Not really. The only thing that was annoying is waiting for them to upload the next part. Aside from that, it's like such a story-driven game.
I mean, visual novels in general, you can kind of see the appeal of just having somebody else go through it, whether they're narrating it or whether they're just playing through it too.
But of course, then I am very, very easily driven insane by people who make the most, from people who just don't do the most basic things of a video game.
Sure. I think I know what you mean.
Like, there's just so many Let's Players where the game will tell them, hey, hit this button, and then they'll get mad and not hit the button, because they'll be like, oh, the game never told me what button to hit, and I will just scream. Just lots of screaming. Never stop screaming.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need pro esports speedrunner to play the video game. But, like, you know, literacy. I would appreciate literacy.
Yeah, basic literacy. I mean, I would not want to be the person watching me sometimes play like when I played the original Silent Hill 1, because once I got to the piano puzzle in the school, I got stuck on that for like a week, having no idea what to do with it.
I feel bad that I solved that puzzle in like an hour.
Whatever reason, that was the one that just I could not bridge it until I finally started looking some stuff up. But that's why Super Great Friend is appealing in that sense, because the Silent Hill playthroughs are played by him, who is actually super knowledgeable about the big survival horror games. So not only does he go into the details of the development, he reads directly from the manual, he knows a lot of the history of the game and a lot of like the secrets of it and the unlockables. He also can play those games decently because he's played them a million times. That isn't to say that that's always the case. Super Great Friend, of course, especially nowadays, he plays a lot of new games that he hasn't played before, and his gameplay makes me never want to watch them. I could barely stand watching him play Resident Evil 7 because he just kept dying over and over again, either because he wasn't very good at the boss fight or he just didn't understand what the game wanted him to do.
Yeah, like, sometimes I cringe at my own game. Well, I cringe about everything I do, ever. But then sometimes I'll just watch a Let's Player, or I'll even, like, watch SGF, and I'll be like, you know what? Maybe I'm not that bad after all. Because I realize I'm not perfect, because I'm going to be real. It is hard to focus on gameplay and commentary at the same time. Trust me, this game feels so much more difficult trying to speak like a person, focus on what Brandon's saying and trying to respond, and then also not dying. It is very difficult. But I feel like there's a difference between lots of precision platforming out and focusing on a lot of enemies in a room, and the game going, hey, you can hit this button to heal, and then the Let's Player goes, what button was to heal again?
Yep. Like in Resident Evil 7, I've watched a couple people play it, and there's one that doesn't know that you can hit a button to just use the healing item. And so they just kept trying to enter the menu where the game doesn't pause and trying to select the healing item, and then they end up dying, and they're just like, why do they just have a quick heal button? And it's like, they do. Just look at the options menu. The game also has a tutorial for it.
That does make me feel better about the RE7 playthrough we did. Which is not just me showing off, but, you know, you can go watch that. That Let's Play is old, though. Is that a selfie stick?
Yeah. Yes. I guess you'll have to go back and finish the full Resident Evil 8 playthrough, Zach, because, you know, 9's coming out.
I feel like I've had my fill of Resident Evil, unless Resident Evil 9 reveals something. Oh god, please don't kill me.
Oh, I'm sure that game will do something to make you interested. I have a pretty good feeling about that. That game's going to be something pretty big, from what I'm gathering.
I mean, I'm going to say that it's like kind of a fluke that I showed any interest in 7 and 8. Which I feel bad about showing interest in 7 and 8 because those are the Ethan games, and I don't like Ethan at all.
Yeah. Which is why you should play a Resident Evil 2 Remake and 3 Remake, because they have likable protagonists.
And those games don't have cards or animate lasers, though.
Well, neither do 7 and 8. Okay, 8 does have a gigantic man made out of trash. That calls one of your friends a boulder punching asshole.
That's right, I forgot about that somehow.
We're looking at 50 minutes, Zach. Do you want to cap off here?
We probably should, but I'm going to do one more run because I'm stubborn.
Okay.
I'm actually going to save my gold to get this new sword.
Guardian Sword.
Oh, it gives me more armor. Whatever. I take a lot of hits, I could use the armor.
Do you have a favorite Let's Play that you've seen?
There's a few that are just, I call my comfort Let's Plays. I especially love to turn them on when I'm about to go to sleep, because, oh man, they're just so nice to listen to. I feel like one a lot of people would agree with, because this one's an oldie but a goodie. Red Supre doing Darkseid 2. Red Supre doing Darkseid 2 is so good.
Yeah, I should probably see that one at some point.
It's weird that one's so beloved, because Red Supre is commentating over someone else's gameplay, and their gameplay is awful because they just stand around for what feels like 15-20 minutes at a time. But the commentary from Slowbeef and Beatus is so good that I somehow managed to get through like all of it.
I've watched all their playthroughs of all three original Alone in the Dark games, like the 90s games. And those are pretty funny, because those games, like, you know, Alone in the Dark 1, pretty straightforward video game. I mean, you go into a spooky mansion, turns out there's H.P. Lovecraft type shenanigans going on, and you take care of that. Alone in the Dark 2 and 3 go completely off the deep end and just kind of become action games. Alone in the Dark 2 is about gangsters and pirates. And Alone in the Dark 3 is about cowboys and witches and skeletons and robots. So that was great fodder for those two to make fun of, and they did an excellent job at that. Now, in terms of informative Let's Plays, I mean, Super Great Friend has so many to pick from. I mean, you know, I may as well just go with the classic. Watch Super Great Friend's playthrough of Deadly Premonition. It is the definitive way to really experience that game. He goes deep into all the secrets in that game. He 100%s it and gives a fantastic showing of why that game is so unique, and especially if you're somebody that doesn't want to play Deadly Premonition, which is a completely fair thing to do because it's not a terribly great game to play. I think he does a fantastic showing of making that game something that is perfectly watchable and fun to you know, go through, especially with all the extras he adds to it. Let's see. Hellfire Commentaries. I really recommend the playthrough of Ocarina of Time that Entom did with the Let's Player Mexaric. How do you say that? Mecharican Bass Monkey or MBM.
Oh, that one was also a really good one because he gave a lot of informative. Like, not only was he funny, he also gave a lot of interesting commentary on the like speedrunning side of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, because MBM is a Ocarina of Time speedrunner, so he was able to give not just background into how to get through the game fastest, but to be a speedrunner, you have to understand like the point by point, like just the way the game is made and the programming and how to engage with it and how to trick it. So he has a lot of really great commentary in that playthrough. Absolutely recommend Hellfire Tom's playthrough of Ocarina of Time. And then also in terms of comedy, I would recommend checking out Finally Computer Room's run of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, because they kind of just I mean, there is actually some informative stuff in there because those guys are all nerds that really love Sonic, but also because it's filled with just like terrible, and I mean terrible in a good way, meme humor throughout pretty much all of it. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Trying to think what else I've really experienced, because otherwise that's kind of like the main ones that immediately jumped out at me, as all of those are just supremely just like really funny or super informative.
Oh, Chip Cheesem. He does Let's Play on both the Duck Dynasty game and one of the Cabela's hunting games that goes full on telling a story that is insane and hilarious.
Okay, yeah, you've talked about that before, and I finally need to get to that because that does sound awesome. I have not seen much of Chip Cheesem, but I know he's one of those like super classic Let's Players.
I know we're going on for a very long time. I promise this will actually be the last run. But I do kind of miss the old school style of Let's Playing that was more informative but comedic at the same time. That it was about them showing off a game and talking about it. And I'm not saying that doesn't still go on now, but I think nowadays games are definitely more about streamers and the personality of the person playing the game than the actual game itself. I think that's why I gravitate to card game streamers the most, just because they... Not only do I feel like they usually provide some of the better commentary, either just comedic, because of them reacting to their opponent having lucky draws, or them having insane draws, or them just, you know, talking out their strategy. I'm really addicted to people talking out their plays in streams. Or, like, well, just gameplay videos in general.
Well, plus they're card games, so they actually have to engage with the mechanics.
Yeah,
to
that
show
as
off
well.
the game. Instead of just engaging with their own personality. Because that's the thing, like, when Let's Plays first started, like, the intention of them was not to just be like, hey, look at me, I'm so funny. It's about, hey, I really like this game, and I want to create a full walkthrough as well as, like, you know, deep dive examination and analysis of the full game step by step to show you why I really like this game and how to get through it if you're having trouble with it. They were like information tools that were as much about helping you through the game as it was about the development and just, you know, giving you a full taste of it. Speaking of, another Let's Play that is definitive that I think everybody needs to watch is actually 2 playthroughs of the same game, which is Shadefire's playthrough of Jurassic Park Trespasser, where he goes through the entire game and shows off its jank as well as all of its secrets and things that are out of bounds in all of the maps in the game. It's really fascinating. And then another older Let's Play of Jurassic Park Trespasser is done by a Let's Player called Research Indicates. If you can find his playthrough on YouTube, you should be able to find it on the Internet Archive. Another incredibly professionally executed playthrough that doesn't go into as much detail. I actually think Shadefire's is a little superior in terms of the amount of information and research he puts into his. He's a big fan of the books as well, and has, you know, talks a lot about the references to the Jurassic Park novels that are in Trespasser. But both those people, Shadefire and Research Indicates, are all of their playthroughs are worth experiencing.
Oh, you actually reminded me when you said Internet Archive, because you'll only find this Let's Play on Internet Archive. Oatmeal Raisin's Let's Play of Dead Rising, which I unfortunately still need to finish. I'll like watch it a whole bunch, and then I'll stop, and then it'll be so long that since I've last watched it that I'll restart it. And that's a pattern I get way too into a lot of the time, but Oatmeal Raisin's Let's Play of Dead Rising is amazing. It, like... My favorite Let's Plays are the kinds that are able to balance comedy and informative. Oh, while also having editing. Good God, editing is so important to me.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And I mean, the thing that's immensely important about Oatmeal Raisin is because, like you said, he saves every survivor.
Yeah.
In one playthrough of the entire game of Dead Rising, which I would assume for many would think would just be intentionally an impossible task, because the game isn't designed that way. Dead Rising is designed so that you'll do multiple playthroughs and manage your time to save, you know, just this survivor and then just this survivor and kind of abandon this one and this one. Where he goes, no, let's see if we can get all of them in one go. And I haven't watched it, but as I can imagine from playing Dead Rising myself, that is almost nearly an impossible task with the AI of the original game.
Not only with the AI of the original game, but sometimes with just how tight your window is to save them. It is possible. I do feel like it was designed to be possible, just not nearly on your first playthrough. Like, you gotta be level 50.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But, man, there's so many Let's Play channels. Like, I used to look for so many of them, and now I just sort of ended up looking up a lot of streamers. Not really because I'm a big streaming guy. I'm gonna get out of this room. Not really because I'm the biggest streaming guy. Like, I don't have anything against it, but I'm not the biggest fan of VODs, just because hearing them talk to a chat, not to mention I find the chat window kind of distracting for me personally.
Right, yeah.
But, I like I said, I end up watching a lot of card game streamers, just because I feel like they're the closest to the old school Let's Players that I really enjoyed back then.
I mean, that's the other reason why, that's the reason why I hate streaming as a format many times for experiencing any video game, because what I loved about the Let's Playing era is because it was just two people in front of a mic discussing something like we're doing right now, instead of two or one person in front of a mic constantly having to, you know, react to things in chat where people are either saying something stupid or intentionally trying to antagonize them, or getting them turned around in a circle by pointing out an object an item they missed that they actually totally picked up, but the person wasn't watching at the time.
Oh my gosh, chat. In card game streams, chat just loves to go, "You missed lethal." The card game streamer will spend the next 5 minutes going, "No. No, I didn't miss lethal. You can't do that." A lot of the times it would just be basic math. Hey, did you know that you can't spend 12 mana when you only have 10?
Yeah.
But yeah, we gotta wrap this up at some point. It's been over an hour. But yeah, about the only Let's Player that I feel like that I watch that still has sort of that old school vibe is Super Gaming Brothers. A lot of their Let's Plays I still really enjoy. Like, I still enjoy their newer stuff, and I still go back to some of their older stuff as well.
Yeah, I would say them, and in terms of, like, you know, super cash, like, friends playing games they enjoy or games they want to show off. And then Super Great Friend, because while he does do a lot of streaming these days, he does present himself in a very sort of old-fashioned Let's Play kind of way. In the ways that he goes through games, especially if it's something he knows inside and out, or it's something that he has, you know, connections to, in terms of just giving a nice, very professional presentation of something.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know why I keep forgetting Super Great Friend, because I also still watch him. I just don't watch him as often as Just to Be, because sometimes his bumbling throughs are fun, and then other times it's almost like pulling teeth. SGF, please just look at words on the screen.
Yep.
But yeah, you can tell we're very passionate about gaming videos, not just because we make them, but because we went over an hour just talking about Let's Plays in the old school format and how things have changed and how we're yelling at clouds.
Yeah. That's just what it comes to as time goes on. But I think we made a lot of good points. We gave some good recommendations and covered this topic about as thoroughly as I think we really can in an hour's time limit. So, yeah, thank you all for joining us. And Rogue Legacy looks like a lot of fun.
It is. I would assume the sequel is good as well, but I have not seen anything of the sequel. But I have to assume it's just Rogue Legacy, but more and better.
Yep.
All right. Have a good night.